What's up, people? We are back with more of a sky full of stars, and in the previous video we wrapped up, finished, concluded this Saya route, and it was glorious and beautiful, and I'm certainly looking forward to the other 3 routes. But before we're gonna do that, we're gonna kind of do a little bit of a switcheroo here, because there are 2 choices in total in the game, which ultimately then lead you into the route that you want to play, right? And the very first choice, I'll probably put like the sort of, I guess the choice branch tree thingamajiggy on the screen somewhere, so it helps a lot with my explanation too. But yeah, basically the first choice, which is the point where you either, I think Hikari asks us for the letter, and you have the choice to either say, nope, hell no, I'm keeping it, it's mine, or you actually just sort of gently give it back to her. And I'd be like, alright, if you want it back after all these years, fine, you can have it back. So, if you decide to keep the letter, it brings you into the upper branch, which kind of locks you, well, which pretty much locks you into the either Saya or Hikari route. And then the next choice is basically either between Hikari or Saya herself. But now that we're saving the Hikari route for last, we're going to be switching over to the bottom branch, which is, first you have to choose to give the letter back to Hikari, and yeah, that'll basically put you into the other branch, which is more related to Korona and Orihime. So there are going to be a couple of changes before we even get to the route. One of those changes is actually one of the scenes coming up right now, which is pretty much what this entire video is about. I did check a little bit, I fast forwarded through a little bit just to see like what has changed. I know for certain that there's like a second common route. This is still before this sort of common route ends. If you guys remember, I think this is around where we're making our own Dobsonian telescope, right? So this is before Hikari left for the second time. And all that jazz. So this is around the time we haven't even finished our Dobsonian telescope yet, and then at the end of our first sort of stargazing event, right, we basically had 2 big stargazing events. The first one was with our own homemade telescope, and the second one was the Project Starlight thing. So this takes place before that, before the Dobsonian telescope was created. We're making it right now, but it hasn't been completed yet. And I think we're going to be checking out the, you know, our good old familiar place where me, Saya, and Hikari, the old astronomy club, used to watch or gaze at stars up on the train, you know, the abandoned train station, basically. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of a different scene here with both Korona and Orihime. And then after that, the common route will change drastically. Like, we'll figure it out. You'll see it in the next video, but I guess I'll just give a little bit of a rundown. But it's basically just the common route will focus more on Orihime and Korona to make it transition better into the Orihime and Korona route as well, right? So yeah, basically after this whole point, after we finish the Dobsonian telescope, both of the routes, or rather both of the branches, change drastically, right? We've only seen it from the Saya/Hikari perspective, and you could tell there was a lot of focus on those 2 characters in particular. So in order to make it transition smoothly into the other 2 characters, Orihime and Korona, the common route, or rather the latter part of the common route, is more focused on the other 2 characters. But for now, we're going to this particular scene right before the second part of the common route. So this is the sort of end of the first common route, and yeah, we're checking out our old awesome place, so let's go there. It was a little far, but everyone stuck along to see where we would be setting up. Still though, we had to cross a dam, climb up the mountain, and make our way through a dark forest, so people were definitely spooked. But that was only until we got there. The sky was painted brilliant orange as we made it up the mountain. Here we are. Oh yeah. This is our beautiful place, Orihime.
駅だけど人がいない。無人駅だからってわけじゃないよね。
Everyone was both a little surprised and impressed as they looked over the crumbling station and a train that stood still in front of it. It used to be an unmanned station, but that's not why no one is
ずっ
here.
と前にこの先の線路が流されて、それ以来使われてないんです。
Everyone watched in silence as Hikari, Saya, and I headed up onto the platform. The three of us looked back at them from up top. So this place is...
私たちの秘密の天文台。
Hell yeah. This is where the Mikazuki Astronomy Club was based.
ここで星を。
Yep, our own secret place. The rest of them stayed a little ways away, staring at the abandoned train car.
素敵な場所。物語の舞台みたい。
I knew Noriko would appreciate it.
廃墟だけど、車両があるせいか、なんだかまだ生きているみたいですね。
Because the memories, our memories continue to live on here.
あの観測ノートはここで書かれたのね。
Yeah.
こんな場所だったんだ。アキネたちの
Yep, Korona, the secret hideout that you've never been to before. Korona said in a somewhat lonely tone that you've been excluded from. She had always wanted to come out here with us, but it was dangerous enough during the day, never mind in the dark of night, so I was sure her mom would have had a fit if we took her with us. Eventually, we just kinda stopped spending time with her. But don't worry, Korona, I'll make up for that after the Orihime round. But in a common route, the second common route, we'll be spending some time with Korona too. Well, come on then, get on up here. Orihime grabbed my hand timidly as I reached down to help her up. Once she'd made her way to the platform, the others began to follow. You're welcome inside too.
本当だ。なんか綺麗。
We cleaned up, are you sure? It doesn't look that clean, it still looks like a hot mess.
昔はよくここで一緒に寝たよね。冬場の天体観測もテントいらずだったわね。
After we cleaned up a bit, all we needed were blankets and we could stay plenty warm through the night in here. We get to see the opposite part of the sky from over there too. Between here and there, we pretty much had a full view of the night sky.
いいのではないでしょうか、会長。素敵です。こんな場所で星を見るなんて。でも、いいのかしら。
Orihime said with a small frown. What do you
こ
mean?
こはあなたたち3人の大切な場所なんでしょう。
Yeah, but we're willing to share it with everybody.
そこへ我々が大勢で押しかけて、観測会当日は知らない方々もいらっしゃいますわ。
The three of us glanced quickly at each other.
いいんじゃないかな。
I mean, this is where our love for the stars started, right? Why not share that love, that passion with other people?
別にいいよね。
There you have it. It's not like we ever wanted this to just be our place. We just never had anyone else to take out here with us.
では使わせてもらいますわ。ここでみんなで星を見ましょう。ええ。やったー。はい。
楽しみだな。
どうしたのコロナ。やっとコロナも仲間に入れてもらえたんだなって。
Yep, it took you a long time, Korona, but you're finally part of the group. Hikari patted her on the head, messing up her
よ
hair.
ろしくね。ピカリン。
Pikarin! Hikari readied her hand for a karate chop.
冗談だよ、ひかりちゃん。
And with that, the whole lot of us came together and made preparations for our first light test. A flashback all the way to elementary years. It was right at the start of 6th grade winter break.
だからダメだって言ってんだろ。
ねえ、どうしてダメなの？ねえ、ねえ。
Korona-chan! For some reason, I find that she looks really funny when she was little. Especially that big sunflower... What is it? Just a clip? A pin in her hair? Takeichi and Korona were arguing out in front of Sao Tome. Takeichi's fist came down onto Korona's head. Don't hurt my soon-to-be cute little waifu, even though she's your little sister. Oh, you see like tears going down her face. I can't tell if it's like one of those, an actual, you know kids, right? You know kids cry a lot for attention, and sometimes it's a lot of fake crocodile tears for attention. I can't tell if it's actually real tears or like fake tears. Cause trust me, I used to do that shit a lot too, okay? I used to actually I know it's probably kind of mean, but it's funny to do as a little sibling, right? I used to sort of like, I guess, just sort of provoke my sister a little bit, right? And then when she like kind of hits me a little bit or just like pushes me or what, then I'll just heavily exaggerate how much she hurt me, and then my parents kind of get upset at her. That was the funniest shit to do back then though, but I don't think my sister hated me for it, but it was kind of funny. And I'm pretty sure my parents kind of knew, at least at some point. In the beginning, they may have gotten like really angry at her, but after a while, they're just like, we know what you're up to, Luda. We know what you're doing. But still, they always chose my side though, which is sometimes, I don't know. Maybe I was just a favorite child. I should ask my parents sometimes. I'll give you an update on that, okay? If you remind me. Takeichi stood in front of his crying sister, looking frustrated. Korona, are you okay? See, and immediately the tears are gone, they've dried up. She turned to me, her sad expression gone as she ran over to me. Hello, Korona-chan. Looking at her, you wouldn't believe she'd just been bawling her eyes out moments ago. Yeah, okay, they were definitely crocodile tears. She was always quick to cry, but quick to perk back up too. What else is new, Korona? Being mean? Go where? I looked over at Takeichi. His face still crossed. He's like, God damn it. Don't humor my little sister, dude. That's like kind of, I mean, that's kind of true, right? Like, my brother, I don't even have a brother. My older sister, when we were like little, we used to hang out a lot. And there's like a certain point, a certain age probably, which she reached, where it just becomes uncool to like hang out with your younger siblings, right? And I feel like it's probably the age where Takeichi's at right now. And then at that point, obviously, the little sibling is still like, oh, why won't you play with me anymore? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I feel like it's, most of the time, it's very normal, where just it becomes kind of uncool to hang out with your younger siblings. Which is kind of sad, but that usually happens when there's kind of a somewhat big age difference, like let's say 2 or 3 years or more, right, between the siblings. Boys our age seem to get into a lot of dangerous situations. And with Takeichi as the head of the local ruffians, he loved doing everything the adults told him not to. Why don't you just do something Korona can do too? Card time? With an air of indifference towards us, he tore into the crunchy chocolate bar he just bought. Oh! I remember the scene, right? I remember the scene. It was kind of different though. He bought like the chocolate bar and then he wanted a specific card. And then we were like, oh, you can have ours. The one that we had and he didn't have yet. And then we kind of seemed like to get along a little bit more. I wonder what's gonna change here though. Wait, are you calling yourself a devil, Korona? He took the cards and tossed the chocolate at Korona. And with that, he just ran off, leaving his sister behind. Nah, I never said that I was gonna hang out with him anyway. Play with little Korona-chan? Nah, you can have it. Aww, that's not true. Much better than your stupid brother, right?
うちのお兄ちゃんとは全然違うよ
Exactly. Takeichi was just trying to look out for his sister by not getting her into anything dangerous. Although, it seems he did it because he didn't want to make his parents mad.
秋には買わないのパックリマンチョコ
Of course I am. I guess that's like the popular thing here, you know? Buy the chocolate bar, get the cards, collect them. I went and bought a crunchy chocolate bar from the old lady at Sao Tome and opened it up.
何出た
Whoa, she suddenly came really close. What'd you get, Aki-kun? A charm. Home run boost.
いいな当たりだ
It's a good one? Hell yeah. It's like the first time I opened my first Pokemon pack and I got a fucking Charizard in it. And then I traded it for 50 useless cards. And then I found out years later that that card was worth so much shit. I still regret it to this very day. Time after time, Takeichi would leave Korona behind, and the two of us would hang out like this. But our age gap was pretty big, so it never really grew into anything more than that. Still though, she would always thought of me as a nice, older brother sort of figure. So here we got a little bit closer with Korona instead of
どれがいいか
Takeichi?
なやっぱし可愛いのがいいよね
Korona was seated at the cafe space at the convenience store with a bunch of pamphlets spread out in front of her. I peeked and saw that they were for cell phone providers. They were covered with colorful cell phones, all competing to catch your attention with this or that new feature.
ねえねえ秋にちょっといい確かスマホだったよねどんなの使ってるかコロナに見せて
Oh, is she gonna buy her own smartphone? Sure, here. I pulled my cell phone out of my apron pocket and handed it over to her.
秋にのはこういうのか普通だけどなんかかっこいいね
Plain? It was just the cheapest one they had.
いいじゃんそれでも似合ってるんだし
Are you calling me cheap? That was probably the first time I'd ever heard of a phone suiting someone. Anyway, are you planning on getting a phone or something? As far as I knew, she didn't even have a flip phone, let alone a smartphone. I bet she came all the way out here to talk to me about it, even though this place is pretty far from her
今
house.
交渉中なんだクリスマスに買ってもらおうと思ってるの
Oh, awesome.
みんなと連絡取ろうと思ったらやっぱし必要だもんね
Yeah, nowadays, just having a smartphone is pretty much essential.
実はこの前姫ちゃんに連絡先聞かれちゃって
And then what do you say then? Number? I don't have a number. Hime? Who was that? Since when was there someone like that around
あ
us?
のおっぱいの大きい綺麗なお姉さんだよ
Orihime! Ah, of course. The moment she said oppai, I knew who she was talking about. Oh, Orihime! That was pretty easy to figure out. Once you thought about it, Once you thought about the oppai. But I wondered why Korona called her Hime in the first place. They actually seem to be pretty close as well, right? Like Orihime kind of brought Korona in, and she, despite her not even being really a part of the Six Stars Club, she was sort of like the junior or something, right? Because she saw her as the next generation, despite not being in any of the high schools yet.
姫ちゃんって呼んだら喜んでくれたんだよこれからもぜひそう呼んでくださいねって
Really? That sounds like Orihime for you. She was probably happy to have a younger girl calling her by some cute nickname.
でもやっぱり失礼かな先輩ってつけた方がいい
I mean, if she wants you to, if she likes it. Nah, she said so herself that she liked it, right?
だよね
She smiled and nodded, her face covered in an excited smile. I was sure she liked the nickname just as much as Orihime
姫
did.
ちゃんは姫ちゃんだもんねこれからもじゃんじゃん姫ちゃんって呼ぶことにする
Yep, Hime-chan. Orihime would be sure to get a kick out of it too. The both of them would be pleased. She went back to mulling over the pamphlets. I decided to give her some advice while I cleaned up the coffee server.
違いがさっぱりわかんない
If that's the case, why not just pick one you think looks
これ
nice?
もそうなんだけど
I
ね
mean, you gotta think about functionality too. I don't know a lot about phones, to be honest. It looked like she'd cut it down to just a couple of options. She had little tags sticking out to mark the phone she liked.
アキ兄はこっちとこっちどっちがいい？
One was a popular model from Company A, and the other, a slightly older model from Company S. Ah, Apple and Samsung, of course. If you're going for a price, then the S one. If you want more features though, then A, probably. I'm more of a Samsung boy. Come at me, Apple fanboys.
ってことはアキ兄なら A 社だ。
Not quite. I'd go for the S. I knew it, Akito. I knew you'd be a Masa boy. I'm sure that she was aware of my constant lack of funds. Anyway, no matter which one you pick, you should still be able to use chat apps. You should trust your instincts.
そうだね。じゃあ直感で選んでみる。
Go with the feel, go with the flow. And with that, she went back to staring at the catalog. She seemed really serious about this whole thing.
そうだ、アキ兄。
Yes? She said as she just recalled something.
絶対スマホ買ってもらえるように頑張るから。そしたら通話アプリの ID 教えてね。
You'll be the first to get it, okay? Sure, no problem. Or rather, I want to be the first one that's in your smartphone. For Korona, getting her first smartphone is probably a big step in becoming part of the group. Alright, because the group chat, right? That's where it's all at. The group chat is very active in the 6 Stars Club. She'd always been like this. Really? Speaking of, what did you do when Orihime asked for your number?
一応家電の番号を教えてもらったよ。でも家に電話しにくかったらアキ兄に連絡してって。
Wait, me? Not Take?
姫ちゃんがお兄ちゃんに連絡するのなんか嫌だし。
I can see that.
美人さん、お兄ちゃんにはもったいないよ。
You're saying I do? You're saying that I do, Korona? Oh, bless your heart, little Korona. Now that was something I couldn't argue with. Takichi deserves someone like Naroe, right? That's more his style.
ご一緒っと。
Orihime moved a heavy-looking box to the edge of the platform. Today, all available 6 Stars Club members had gathered to help clean up our secret observatory. We were getting rid of a lot of stuff, along with sweeping, wiping, and making the place nice and clean. Once that was done, we were going to bring in blankets and cushions, paper cups, plastic dinnerware, and other tableware. We were doing all we could to make this place nice and cozy. It was all in preparation for our big
い
event.
ざ始めてみると結構な量があるわね。
She wiped her sweat with a handkerchief. It looked like she was a bit out of breath. You can just leave the heavy lifting to me, you know? She tried to subtly hint that she didn't need to work so hard.
平気よ。これ式の荷物。
You sure? I mean, you're already carrying a heavy load. She tried to flex, but it was hard to make anything out through that coat.
姫ちゃんプニプニだ。
I don't think you're squishing her muscles right now, Korona.
いきなり揉まないでください。
Korona had snuck up behind her and grabbed her upper arms. Are you sure it was her upper arm?
会話だけ聞くとなんかエッチいわね。
It kinda was, Hikari. Definitely. Hikari and I just nodded at each other.
外に出したものは全部処分しても OK でしょうか。
Yeah, it's just been sitting here for years
こ
anyway.
の箱はこちらに置いても平気ですか？
Here, I'll stack them up. The way Noriko was holding it, I thought it would be super heavy, but it really wasn't that bad. Now that I thought about it though, I was the only guy here in the whole group. Where's the other dude?
こっちのやつ捨てちゃっていいか確認してくれる？
She wanted me to make sure. All the stuff we gathered up here was once our secret treasure, but now that we'd all grown up, it was just a bunch of junk. Most of it was just random stuff Hikari had brought in, but there was some of my and Saya's stuff too.
こんなにいっぱい集めたんだね。
The boxes were filled with all sorts of random stuff. This definitely wasn't done by the methodical Saya, this was all Hikari. Hikari kind of strike me as like a hoarder or something, you know? Maybe later in her route, if we're like gonna live together, our house will be filled with like useless junk that we don't even need, but for some reason she wants to keep anyway. Oh wow! Remember this? I had forgotten about all this stuff, but one look was enough to bring the memories back.
見てよ。クッキー缶にクヌギのどんぐりばっかり大量に入ってる。
Why are there acorns in there? We're not squirrels. Those are sawtooth acorns. They're super cool.
オニヤンマには負けるよ。
I mean, the name is pretty cool, Sawtooth. I couldn't argue with that. They could even take down giant hornets, so he had always admired how fierce they were. Oh, thank God, I fucking hate any animal, any flying little piece of shit bug that can sting you. I hate them all. Even bees, but bees are a little cool because at least they make honey.
見てこれ。アキトがサヤにあげた石だ。わあ、懐かしいね。水切りが上手にできる石だっけ？
Stone? Yeah, but you tucked it away forever instead.
だっていい形してたんだもん。
Saya smiled and tucked the stone away. Now then, what else have we got? Whoa! What is this? The box was just full of some brown something or other. What the fuck?
松ぼっくりだよね。
An entire box filled with pine cones. Why did we keep this shit? Who collected all these pine cones? I mean, of course, there's only one person. This was definitely Hikari. I thought to myself as my eyes followed after her.
私じゃないってば。さすがにこれは違うし。
Really? Are you sure? No matter how many you collect, they aren't gonna transform into sea urchins, you know?
当たり前じゃない。私をバカにしてんの？
Who thought that they would? No, I mean, didn't you once say something like that? It was something like, pine cones are the urchins of the mountains, and one day they'll grow and make their way back to the sea. Someone had made a joke like that back when we were kids. Maybe it was Takaichi? Or was it someone else? Was it Saya? Really? You collected the pine cones, Saya? Wow. That's rather unexpected. I mean, to be fair, by process of elimination, if it's not me, if it's not Hikari, then it kind of has to be Saya. But just imagining her, like, collecting pine cones and stuffing it in a box? Pretty unexpected. Saya held her hand up with an embarrassed look on her face.
この松ぼっくり、サヤが集めたの？ごめんね、よくわかんないことして。
It's alright, it's alright.
集めた理由わかんないの？
You don't even remember? Let me guess. Sea urchins? Was that it? We had a winner! Ding 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 ding! It was the sea urchin story.
おかしいよね。松ぼっくりは海じゃないのに。
I mean, we were all silly and believed in silly, stupid things when we were little kids, okay? It's alright.
いたいけなサヤを一体誰が騙したの？光だよ。
Yeah, who could have tricked our dear little Saya, huh? Who could have done such a thing, Hikari? So it was you! So the legend of the mountain urchins really was another one of Hikari's crazy ideas then.
全く記憶にございません。でも深く謝罪いたします。
Hikari gave a deep bow towards Saya. Her twin ponytails shook as she did so.
許してくれる？許す。
It happened years ago anyway.
好きだ！私も大好きだよ。
Aww. Wait, girls? Hey! Now that I'm like pursuing Orihime and Korona, does that mean that like Saya and Hikari are gonna get together or something? Cause I do get some Yuri vibes from them sometimes. Saya warmly accepted a hug from Hikari. Although, I don't know, Hikari is either just really kidding but she's always very upfront about like, I love you, Saya! My beautiful Saya. Like she even said like, you're taking Saya away from me. Although it was, I feel like it's kind of semi-jokingly, but I feel like there's also an element, a hint of truth to it. So I don't know. Whereas I feel like Saya is maybe just, she sees it more as a friendship. I don't know, it's not like any of that's gonna ever happen anyway. But they're probably gonna get a bit closer with me out of the picture. Not entirely, I think. I think we're still, of course we're still gonna remain friends with both of them, but we're just gonna be less close. They were just as close as ever. They had a couple of years, or they had been a couple of years apart, but seeing them here and now, it was like that had never happened.
それでこの海じゃなかった松ぼっくりはどうする？秋田くんにあげる。
What do I want with the pine cones? No thanks, I'm good.
サヤのプレゼントだよ。たとえ泥団子だって美味しく食べなきゃいけないのに。
Then you take it, Hikari. Oh, give me a break already.
もうしょうがないな。さすがに捨てるのはもったいないし。
Well, it sounds like you don't even want them, Hikari.
そうだ。いいこと思いついた。
Oh god, what kind of crazy idea have you cooked up in your brain? She smiled suddenly, like the Hikari I'd known for so long, and headed out of the train.
おーい、コロナ。いいものあげるからこっち来なさい。
Are you gonna dump it to Korona?
いいもの？なになに？
Oh my god, poor Korona-chan.
いいものって松ぼっくりだよね。
Yep, she's just gonna dump it to Korona. What a jerk.
コロナ来ました。ねえねえ何くれるの？
And poor Korona is all excited too, like, oh, I get a present, what's my present?
サヤが丹精込めて育てた山のウニよ。
Oh my god, a part of me is actually gonna think like that Corona's gonna be really excited. She's like, ah, what? I get all these sea urchins, I mean pine cones? Wow, thank you!
ウニ？育てたの？
Saya did, yeah. She wasn't quite the liar Hikari was. Don't fall for that. It's just a bunch of pine cones.
確かに松ぼっくりだ。今は松ぼっくりちゃんだけど、大事に育てたら美味しいウニになるんだよ。
How do you even take care of pine cones? What do you gotta do? Give them water?
さすがに諦めなよ、ヒカリ。
Don't try and fool little Korona-chan. Saya just couldn't watch Hikari try to play this off on Korona.
もしかしてコロナを騙した？
You are, you're being tricked, Korona. Don't believe her.
ひどいよ、ピカリ。ただの松ぼっくりにそんな付加価値つけるなんて。
Throw him at her. Throw him at her, Korona.
確かに今のはひどいよね。サヤ！
Hikari finally realized that she was on her own on this.
ヒカリのバカ！犯罪者！
I agree. Lock her up. Call the police. Put her in jail.
犯罪者って。
Yeah, you're trying to scam her.
だって詐欺だもん。松ぼっくりはウニじゃないもん。
Exactly. Korona angrily grabbed some pine cones from the box
なえ！
and then sent them flying at Hikari. Haha. She managed to dodge them, but pine cones were flying all over the place.
ほら、やめなさい。やめてたまるか。うわあ！
Korona had begun chasing Hikari.
楽しそうだね。
Really? Are you kidding me? We were supposed to be cleaning, but this was just making a bigger mess. If Orihime were to catch us like this...
何をやってるんですか？
Uh-oh, hey Honoka! It was Honoka who found us instead. They didn't say anything else, but just froze in place. And watched me pick up all the pine cones. This is a little less scary because I was thinking of the time, like, you know, in the future where Orihime has already retired as being the president, and then in that later Korona, Honoka becomes the president. But here she's not the president yet, so you can't hurt me, girl. Sorry, those idiots made a real mess.
別に構いませんけど。まあまあ、吉岡もそんな顔しないで。
Orihime came walking in behind
それよ
her.
りも散らかったものを片付けますわよ。もちろんやってくれますわよね。
Of course, anything for you, my lady. The way she spoke left no room for anyone to decline.
すみませんでした。
Anything Orihime would ask of me, I'll do it. Want me to lick your boots clean? Hell, give me all your shoes.
ごめんなさい、姫ちゃん。
Even the two culprits apologized to her. Just like Saya, Orihime was one person you didn't want to get mad, though in an entirely different way.
反省したのなら結構よ。それより回収したこれは
Yeah, just dump it somewhere. Wait, let's save the pine cones for what? I know, Korona, don't worry. Yeah, no kidding, but that's not what I'm talking about. Dried pine cones are great for building fires. If we hang on to them, we can probably use them for our first light event. Oh, that's actually true, I remember that. I played Don't Starve Together, I always put pine cones into the fire as well, to keep it lit. Newspapers would work fine too, but since we already had all of these, we might as well use them. It was always good to have an emergency heat source when coming out here at night. Yeah, it's not something most people probably spend any time thinking about anyway. I only knew because I'd run into a tight spot where I needed to use them. It was something to brag about, I saw it on the Discovery Channel. Don't worry, you can't know everything, Orihime. It wasn't really a big deal, one way or the other. Well, you'll do fine if you remember from here on out, right? It kinda is, right? It sounds a bit strange that sort of like, I guess, quote-unquote survival tips will be useful for an astronomy club, but if you're just kind of going out into the wild, even if it's just to watch stars, right? Tips like this is pretty helpful. Good to know for the upcoming first light, and from here on out too. The more activities we get involved in, the more everyone will learn. Sure, what is it? Don't be shy, Orihime. You can ask me anything. What, single? Yes, I am. What? Orihime, no! Just ask me! It seemed like she wanted to say something, but without more information than that, there wasn't much point in worrying about it. Really, dude? We should have just asked, like... If somebody tries to ask me a question, right, and then halfway is like, nah, never mind, I kinda press like, wait, what did you want to ask? Korona seemed to take a keen interest in the old train car. Our little cleanup had already come a long way, and the place didn't bear much resemblance to its older look. Here we were again in our little secret hideout. This place had been sacred to us, and we had never allowed even Korona to come out here before. Finally coming out here must have been a pretty emotional event for her. It's pretty awesome, right? It's nothing that impressive, really. This place used to seem really cool once upon a time, but these days, I didn't see much more than a rusty old train. It was all busted up and dusty, with winds creeping in from every crack and hole. The only thing here worth anything at all would have been our observation journal. Compared to that, everything else was just a bunch of junk. Aww. She had probably always wondered why we never let her be part of our group, even though we were just a year apart. We never had a satisfying answer for her back then, though. Korona was a bit lost in her thoughts, but Hikari asked her question anyway. Hikari had never been too easy on Korona. She was always telling her to decide things for herself, and it looked like that was something that hadn't changed. Aww, of course you can be, Korona. That's why she wanted to get a phone. Who even knows how she managed to get in touch with Orihime today to come out here and help? Of course not! I had never expected we'd be back out at this train again. But here we were again, just like old times. I guess it's not exactly the same as before, but still, it felt familiar enough. What is she doing? She's spelling her name? Well, is she... What kind of rock is that? Is she like carving her name into the train here somewhere? She used a rock to carve her name into the wall of the train. Ah, there we go. The peeling paint gave way under the rock, showing the metal underneath.
私たちも昔似たようなことしたっけ?
Yep, which makes you now an official member of the Club Korona. Welcome, welcome. I'm pretty sure we just used markers. We didn't go crazy and carve up the walls.
どこだったかな? もう消えちゃってると思うけど.
Even if it was permanent marker, years probably withered it away into nothing but a memory. The names we wrote back then would never show themselves on these walls again. Is that her name? Korona?
アキ兄たちはどうする? 待ってください。それでは片手落ちですわ、コロナさん。
What? That had come from a voice I wasn't expecting to hear.
片手落ちって何か足りなかったかな? 不足しているものが一つあります。それは二つ名ですわ。プレアデス7姉妹の末の妹、メローペよ。
メローペ? Does she have to add that?
なるほど。そう、私はメローペ。
メローペ. Korona took the stone in her hand again, but
どう
stopped.
しました?
Does she not know how to write Merope?
メローペってむずいよね。
Well, I don't write Japanese, so I don't know. Or kanji. Not quite the problem I was anticipating. Merope.
こんなところですわね。
We finished up our cleaning and headed outside. It gets dark out pretty quick this time of year, so we should probably head back. We loaded all the boxes of junk onto the cart we'd brought with us. Now we just had to bring it back down with us as well.
台車だと坂道が不安ですね。それなら心配には及びませんわ。先ほど車を手配しましたので。
Awesome. Thanks,
あ
Orihime.
と15分もすれば到着するそうです。
15 minutes was nothing compared to how much of a pain it would have been to push the cart the whole way.
お腹すいた。そうだね。何か食べてく？早乙女の豚まんが食べたい。
Oh, pork buns! I kind of want a pork bun right now too. She said while looking pleadingly my way. Hey, why are you looking at me? I'm not gonna buy it for you. But I was not about to let her fool me like that. Just so you know, I only work part-time, so I can't cover you.
やっぱ私じゃ無理だったか。さや、出番だよ。アキト君は誘惑すればいいの？
You should have done that sooner, Saya.
そうそう。上目遣いでおねだりおねだり。
Oh god, it's gonna be really hard to say no to.
それじゃあ。
Saya, what? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Please don't pull the puppy dog eyes on me. Aww. Oh my god. Okay, take all the pork buns you want, Saya. You can have them all. I don't give a shit if I get fired. Take them all. This was almost too much to handle. I can't handle the cuteness here.
なんて可愛い。さすが私のさや。
I know, right, Hikari? That's definitely not something you can do.
いいよいいよ。私が買ってあげる。豚まんでも唐揚げちゃんでもなんでもいいよ。
Alright, well, there you have it. Problem solved. Hikari will buy it for you. Looks like Hikari gave in before I did. And I was just about to give in as well. I suppose this is what they mean by the hunter becoming the hunted.
私は別にいいよ。
Saya said, somewhat troubled by Hikari's reaction.
まあいいか。私は豚まん買うけど、さやはどうする？豚まんはやめとこうかな。早乙女のは美味しいけど、ちょっと大きすぎるから。
It doesn't look like you'll be sharing one with Hikari.
もちろん。私は全部食べられるし。
That was Hikari for you.
なら、私と半分ずつ食べませんか？いいの？
Aww.
私も半分くらいなら食べたいなって思いましたので。
Aw, Honoko is nice, willing to share with Saya. This is surprising, coming from Honoka. What about Orihime? I figured that if she shared with anyone, it would be
会
Orihime.
長なら あっちです。いいですか、コロナさん。いえ、末の妹メローペ。
It really feels like Orihime is just like taking Korona under her wing, right? I will teach you, my young'un, your youngling. Orihime broke into a speech while staring out at the night sky.
メローペとはプレアデス7姉妹の一人。そのプレアデスの神話はご存知かしら？
She's like become her tutor.
よく知らない。ならば少しだけ語って差し上げましょう。プレアデスの7姉妹は巨人アトラスと妖精プレヨーネとの間に生まれました。彼女たちはとても仲良しで、月の女神アルテミスに仕えていたそうです。ある日、姉妹が森で遊んでいたところ、一人の狩人がやってきました。その狩人は名をオリオンと言います。
Orion.
オリオンは美しい姉妹に一目惚れしてしまうのです。
With all of them, all 7 of them, Orion was a player. Orihime continued her story of Pleiades, making full use of her melodramatic voice. It was like watching a real Greek tragedy. The area was slowly transformed into the world of the gods she spoke of. After parting ways with Orihime and the other members, we sat down to enjoy our pork buns. You gotta blow on it, Korona. Unlike Hikari, Korona wasn't quite able to go right at it. It's best if you pull it apart and let it cool down a bit. You got that way the center cools down quicker. You gotta break it apart and then hold it upwards. You don't keep it, on the side. You hold the parts that you've broken open. You put that up, right? Therefore, nothing will leak out on the sides. Saya took the split half and put it underneath. That would stop it from dripping on the ground. Korona seemed a little on edge, but Saya was just smiling at her, just like I'd expect of both of them. I bet Korona wasn't happy. Korona didn't like the fact that Saya was the one helping her. Korona said as she finished and relaxed a bit. I'm actually, this is not the Korona route yet, and first we're gonna do the Orihime one. But I feel like during her route we're probably gonna learn a little bit why she doesn't really like Saya that much. Although I feel like even now, without having played her route, the reason is fairly obvious, right? She just kinda liked me, and Saya seemed like, in pretty much everyone's eyes, like the #1 candidate to be my girlfriend. So therefore Korona automatically dislikes her. I guess that's the reason.
ねえ、コロナ。さっきはかなり興奮してたみたいだけど、どう？メローペとしての自覚はできた？
メローペ。
もちろん。コロナはメローペ。7姉妹の末っ子。
You're taking it quite serious. She was still as intense as always, even after eating. Orihime's story must have really awakened something within her. Looks like you had fun then. Orihime really has a way with words, so that's no surprise.
声も綺麗だよね。住んでてよく通るし。
Yep, if only I had such a voice.
さやだって負けてないよ。いい声してるじゃん。姫ちゃんの方がすごいもん。
Although it had only been a few moments of conversation, it appeared that Korona was already a zealous Orihime follower. So am I. I would gladly join the cult of Orihime.
ひかりちゃんも聞いてたよね。さっきの姫ちゃんのお話。
Yep. Praise our leader Orihime.
だったら姫ちゃんが一番だってわかるでしょ。全然比較にもなんないんだから。
I wouldn't say that I know she's the best. I'd say I like you all, okay? I like all 4 of you. I'm not gonna do any favorites. Not pick favorites.
うちのさやが最高だって。
I really... Ah, God. This is difficult, right? Like, they're comparing Saya with Orihime. Who do I say is the favorite here? We've just played the Saya route. We're just about to... Very soon, I think in like a couple videos, we're about to play the Orihime route. What do we do? Who do we pick?
私も白鳥さんにはかなわないと思うな。
And of course, Saya is a very humble person.
さや、もっと自信持って。私のさやは最高に可愛いんだから。
It sounds like they're comparing 2 different things here. but Hikari just won't stop until everyone sees her favorite little Sai as #1 of everything. I feel like that's indeed the case. Kind of comparing apples with oranges, right? Sai and Orihime aren't exactly the same type of people either. God, girls, calm down. Are you really fighting over who's the best? Uh-oh. Calm down, Korona. Hikari! Yeah, and suddenly it was like a fight between two predators. You know, they both have pretty nice voices. I acknowledge that they're both great. How am I a traitor? I said Orihime's is great too. How did I betray? I was just being perfectly honest. It would have been hard to pick one or the other. Merope.
まあね、六つら星の会は文字通りスバルの6連星を意味するから。
That meant that she, the 7th star, wouldn't be included. But she's like an honorary member, right? Korona's an honorary member. I wondered if Korona understood the significance behind that.
ていうか、またピカリンって呼んだな。
You only just now noticed? Yeah, karate chop. Chop chop. Hikari's karate chop landed hard on Korona's head. I feel like over all the years of karate chops that Korona has endured from Hikari, there's gotta be at least a little bit of brain damage there, right? Yeah, you hit the soft spot. You know how a baby's skull, it still has the soft spot? I feel like because Hikari has constantly been hitting her skull, constantly been hitting Korona's skull, she's created and formed a new soft bad spot on Korona's head. Poor Korona-chan. You're too cruel, Hikari. Too mean. And I was on your side defending you, Korona. God damn. You know you're just gonna get 2 more karate chops now, right? Look at her thinking she's outsmart Hikari. Oh, that's good to know. Although that might not have been the smartest thing to say, right? I am tougher than... I can take more than 1 karate chop. And like, okay, here you go then, another karate chop for free. Uh-oh. Run, Korona! And Hikari was ready to lash out again with a flurry of chops. Wait, she didn't chop? Of course not, she's gotta diversify her attack patterns. She was petting Korona on the head this time instead. Aww. Of course. Pets are much better than chops. She continued petting her. Hikari seemed more like a big sister to her. Korona seemed to be really happy there. It seemed like Korona was really enjoying herself. This was probably just what she'd been looking for when she joined us. Oh, the You are? It's gonna be we're first going to be looking through our own homemade telescope. Alright, see you then. Although this is actually the point where we're gonna end things, because pretty much from here on out everything is the same. So up until the ending of the first part of the common route. So we're gonna have the event now of the first line, you know, everybody watching through the telescope. They're gonna fool me because, you know, remember the part where they give me the honor of first looking through the telescope, and then I kind of get scared, nervous, and I decline. I kind of run away, and they kind of trick me into looking through the telescope by saying something's broken, but they only just sort of like made it hazy, and then I fixed it, and I saw the stars, and I sort of, you know, reinvigorated my passion, my love for the stars again. So yeah, that part is exactly the same as always. So in the next video, we will be continuing at the start of the second sort of common route, which is going to be really focusing on both Orihime and Korona. We already kind of saw it here, right? It's sort of a similar event that went kind of different in the Hikaru slash Saya common route, but in the second part of the common route, it'll be vastly different as well. So yeah, this is the end of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video, where we're focusing more on Orihime and Korona-chan. Bye bye. Peace.